When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. When I was a stranger, you invited me in. When I needed clothes, you gave me something to wear. When I was alone, you took me in. Whatever you did for the least of these, you did for me.
Welcome to Change the Story, a podcast by Fostering Change Washington, where we bring real stories from those who know the child welfare system best, from children who've lived it to frontline workers, experts, and leaders fighting for change. Every day, innocent children are left suffering and abuse, their voices unheard, their lives at risk. This is more than a conversation. It's a call to action to stand for life and justice for those who cannot speak for themselves. Thank you for joining us. Now, let's change the story. Hey, Fostering Change, it's Jessica Hanna. Today we're bringing you a very close story to my heart. Actually, it is the story that brought me back into the fostering world, opened my eyes to what has been happening. This is my good friend, Amanda Ross.
Good morning.
And she, golly, what year was it that I ran into you and recruited you to be a foster parent?
It was prior to, well, you've always talked about it. So I've always kind of had a heart for it.
Okay.
But, gosh, I don't know.
Well, I feel, okay, so I'm timeline-wise, I believe you had 2 pregnancies that you grew beautiful babies and delivered them and they passed.
Correct.
I believe it was after your second baby
and
passed
we
away.
had been looking into foster care for family members' potential babies. And then once we lost our last baby, we decided to continue with foster care.
You have
In
other
fact,
children.
the day that I lost that baby that we delivered, foster care was coming to do our final approval.
Really?
For
the family placement.
For the family placement,
Okay.
for like the house. House
okay. Yes.
overview. That was the day that I delivered my baby that we lost. Yep.
I just remember thinking, Lord, how did this happen, right? Yes. You have how many beautiful children
3
living with you?
3.
So you have 3 biological children, and then the last 2 both.
Yes, a year apart. Yep.
Okay.
Lost them both a year apart.
I just remember being really broken for you and really questioning, God, why did you allow this to happen?
Yes.
And
Very sad.
it was.
But my babies are in heaven, so
yeah,
it's
amen to that.
great.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's going to be a
Don't have
good
to worry
day
about 'em.
when you.
Oh,
it's going to be
wonderful.
When we met, we saw each other again. I recruited you to foster care because you love children.
I would have 1,000 if I could. I always wanted 12.
Yeah.
And I would have kept going. But
Yeah.
after the last pregnancy, it was very traumatic on my body where they almost lost me as well as the baby. And my husband had to watch CPR on me and baby. So we decided no more biological, but we'll go with loving on everyone else's.
Yeah, and you do a great job of that because I know any babies that I am, toting around, you always give them.
I always have extra kids in my house.
I know you do. You're fantastic.
Like I'm full house all the time. There's always extra kids and always, I just have them all. So I get to love on everyone's.
I love it.
Me too.
So you became a foster parent and you started that licensing process, and the case was a traumatic case.
It was.
It was a traumatic case. So we have been, I'm sorry.
I think we started out with this hope that we could bless so many families and so many children. And it turns out our first case ended up being our only full case. We had one other small case kind of in between, but basically had one case, and turns out it was hard.
Yeah. So the case that we are here today sharing about is the case of Baby Bianca. She was a beautiful, beautiful little girl.
Yes, she was.
Whose life was ended, preventably ended, too short.
Correct.
One of our heart of this whole episode is we've been bringing you stories. We've been bringing the audience stories of the welfare system, the child welfare system, and we've been bringing stories of, education and all these things. We've been talking about death reports.
Yes.
So in the ombuds, they put out the death reports. They investigate the deaths of children if CPS had their hands in it in any way. Today, my goal is to take one of those statistics, just one of those numbers, and I want to introduce you to Bianca. I want you to hear her laugh. I want you to see her beautiful life.
Mm-hmm. Makes me teary-eyed just talking about her.
I know. I'm going to work really hard.
It's okay.
Not
no,
cry.
I'll do totally fine.
You're fine. I mean,
I'll be teary-eyed, but I'll be good.
You had the privilege of loving this little girl from the 3 days after she was born.
Yes. Basically birth through 11 months.
Yep. Almost to her first birthday. Yes. And you did an excellent job loving her.
Yes.
You did an excellent job loving her. You did an excellent job supporting the mother and trying your very best to wrap around the family.
Yep.
You were how do I say that?
Exemplary? I don't know.
Goodness.
I can't do it.
It's this exemplary.
Yes.
You were exemplary.
Yes. And we really did. We did wrap around that family. And I, brought the other kids into the house when in between transports or, picked up and dropped off gifts and saw mom, outside of things and always gave her a hug. And we're on a good relationship.
Right. So, all right. So let's unfold Bianca's life.
Yes.
Let's look at this beautiful.
Okay.
So the day she was born, tell me about it.
So I didn't know about her till 3 days prior. So I got a phone call and I was actually driving down to Yakima and they asked if I would be interested in a newborn. And I said yes, but I had to finish up this appointment in Yakima. Went back, picked her up from the CPS office, and I remember just being ecstatic. Like,
oh yeah,
this is our first one, and I get a brand new baby to love on. Picked her up, had her for, I think it was like 3 days, and then she went back. And then I was feeling really defeated because it had been like 3 weeks, and I hadn't gotten another phone call at all for a new placement. And then I got a phone call for another placement, and that baby was coming to me from Yakima up to Ellensburg. And while he was being brought up, I got a phone call from Bianca's social worker and said, hey, I have this baby plus a sibling if you're able to take him. And I said, well, I have this other placement coming, but I would gladly take both siblings to keep them together if we want to figure out replacing the other child with a family that could do it. Yeah. So I ended up getting the Yakima placement and Bianca, and a friend another foster family took the sibling. And then we got that sibling the following Friday. So
this is Bianca. So Bianca's back with you and her sister.
Correct.
Big sister or younger sister? No, she's just born. That was a blonde question of me.
So Bianca, yes. And then her
other older
sibling.
Sister.
Yes.
Okay.
And we get them, and I think it's right around the end of November, beginning December of 2019.
All right.
Yes.
Tell me about that experience, like as she was growing.
So we have 3 kids, right?
Okay.
And the youngest at that point was 3, almost 3. So it was wild and it was wonderful. And just having a new baby and another one, it was like we started with 3 kids and got 2 more. And then all of a sudden you're a family of 5 kids. And it was beautiful. And during that time, we celebrated sibling's birthday. So that was fun. But Bianca and the sibling, they were both in those perfect growing times. Like you saw a lot of change because starting as an infant and getting to 11 months, there's a lot of development between that. Yeah. And for the sibling as well, a lot of development. So we also got them in the start of 2020. So all of the COVID happened. And so we had them, they weren't in childcare at the time. So they were home with me as family and siblings full time. So they were just home. So they never had to go. They didn't know anything different other than visits with mom. They were home with us all the time. And it was beautiful. It was wonderful. And so I got to be there for all the moments.
I love it. Me too. Crawling?
Yes, almost crawling. Sitting up for sure. She was getting ready to crawl. She was like kind of scooting.
First smiles.
First
smiles. First foods.
Giggling.
Giggling.
Laughing, bath time, like all the things. Playing,
What color was her hair?
Like a dark blackish brown.
Was it straight or curly?
Straight and soft. Yep.
When she was
sweet.
born,
And she
did
had
she
the perfect little nose and these sweet little lips. Yes, she was beautiful and happy. Never cried.
just happy?
Happy all the time. We always said getting both those kids was the easiest. They were easier than our babies. Like they were just so easy to love. They were wonderful. Never cried. They're great.
Happy. Just happy girls.
Happy, healthy, growing. Mm-hmm. Yep.
One thing you shared with me that you're like, she was fed. She was seen by a dentist, right?
Yep.
Or the other older one. And doctors, and everything was consistent.
And because I had a really good relationship with the mom, we did all of our dentist appointments, all the doctor's visits.
Together,
every time. And I would invite her, and she was welcome to do any of that. And we always did it. And I would see her, and I would give her hugs, and we would, meet in the lunch pickup for different things. And I would talk to her. And
did she have other kids?
Yes, she had 3 older at the time, and then turns out was expecting another at one point in time. And
that's right. So now let's zip up a little bit. She's expecting another child.
And yes, so I don't know it at the time, but social worker calls and says, well, let me back up. So I see her in this school pickup lunch line, and she says, hey, can I get your phone number? I really want to talk to you. And I said, well, I'm not sure on how that works. Let's go through the social worker. So social worker comes over and talks to me and says, oh, she's expecting again and wants you to potentially adopt this new baby. And I said, well, I'm so invested in these two, Bianca and the sibling. And Bianca and I were close. Like I felt like mom to her because that's all she knew on a consistent, basically 23-hour day with the exception of the visits. And I can't remember the exact how many visits during the week, but the majority of her life was spent with me. So I was bonded to both girls, and Bianca obviously only really knew me as full-time mom.
Absolutely.
And so I said, I have such a good relationship with them. I'm completely willing to do open adoption. If I do an open adoption for both these girls, we could do that, and then she could have a fresh start, right? Because we know, obviously the kids were in care for a reason, give her a fresh start. And we kind of were working that, navigating that, because that was in probably April that she told me, May-ish, that she was expecting again. And then we had kind of been talking about it throughout the summer. And it was just kind of in the works. Nothing was set in stone, but we were hoping to try to do this.
Right.
Yep. And at that point in time, did not know who bio dad was. And so that was an easier thing to do. And then they ended up finding out who bio dad was, and that kind of halted it because they had to give rights to him to see the child. So
I have a timeline written down here.
Okay.
So Bianca was born in October 31st, 2019. And bio dad comes to the scene in August of, 2020. And then September of 2020
that's when they were removed.
That's when they were removed from your care and headed back to mom.
Correct. And actually, it's so wonderful. Our foster license official beginning day was October 31st of 2019, so the day Bianca was born. And then we got her 3 days later, and then had her for those months, and then they were removed. Yep, in September of 2020. So almost 11 months.
So 11 months. She's almost to her first birthday.
And we were making plans for it, trying to figure it out, getting ready for Halloween, because that was coming next month. Like all the little fun things of fall, like pumpkin patch is coming, and all the things.
Then we moved to November 2021. So between the time that Bianca was removed from your care up until, honestly, her death, did you have contact with the mother?
I did. I stayed in contact after the children were removed from our care. We stayed in contact. And in fact, that baby that she was expecting, I missed delivery by just a few minutes because I was at work. But I was the first one at the hospital, first one holding that baby, and just really still trying to support her because she has these children, and she did not have a good support system. And for her to ask me to be at delivery instead of anyone else, I thought that was a really beautiful thing.
That is beautiful.
And so I did try to support her. And I tried to support her in her recovery. And I would pick her up and take her to a Celebrate Recovery meeting. We did that. And at that time, she would bring the new baby. And then I would see the other child, the older sibling of Bianca. And that one I was okay with letting her see me because I knew she had a bond with mom. Bianca
Prior
didn't.
to coming to me.
Bianca did not. And I did not want to let Bianca see me because I didn't want to hurt her. I didn't want her to be like, why did you abandon me? Why did you leave me? Because taking them away from us was traumatic. And they ended up going to another home. They were moved from us like on a Thursday or a Friday. Getting ripped away from
Backing up a little bit.
that.
CPS slapped an allegation on you, which a
Yes.
lot of foster parents,
Correct.
a lot of foster parents experience, especially when CPS decides to take the case in a different direction. And they know the foster family is there for the long haul.
Yep.
And they don't want the opposition. We see it all the time. Foster family gets an allegation slapped, the removal of the child, and that's exactly what you experienced.
Yes. And it was awful. So they had the allegation on us. And throughout the entire time we'd had these girls, it was a relatively consistent transport that came and picked them up. And so the morning of the allegation that we had, I was getting ready and my husband came and he was like, hey, so-and-so's here. And I was like, okay, I'll be out in a second, thinking it was a transport person. We're getting the girls ready to leave. And I walk out and I see somebody new and then
A police officer?
a deputy who was there just as a support. And I was like, hi. And she said, basically, when my husband opened the door, she said, I'm here because you're abusing your children. And meanwhile, it took him back. And I was like, what are you talking about? So, of course, they have to look at both girls, talk to our girls. They, look at them, check all them out. And she's like, is this the bruise that they're talking about?
Right. If I remember correctly, it's a little bruise right here.
Yes, it was like right, I don't remember which side, but somewhere in here.
Yes.
And at the time, she said, well, how did it happen? I was like, I don't know. And let's clarify that the bruise was not on Bianca. It was on
the older child.
The older sibling. And I was like, I don't know.
Because Bianca's a little baby.
Well, she's 11 months old, but not walking,
Right,
toddling.
right.
But the older sibling was walking and at that just toddler age where they just run into things or do things. And I was like, I don't know. And my kids play. Like, we have a great backyard, so they play all the time. And I couldn't even think of how it was, especially on the spot. You're like, I don't know. She did this. But then afterwards.
How old was she? The older sister?
Turned 1, like 20-ish months, 21 months.
Oh, yeah. So that stage.
Not even that old, 17, 18 months.
Still falling,
still learning, running into things, all the things. And we ended up kind of pinpointing because I was like racking my brain after all of the stuff came through. And we had been at a friend's house the day before, and my oldest daughter, who was probably like 8 at the time, was holding her. And the car door, like in the wind, it like came in and it just clipped her.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's Ellensburg wind for you.
Right? Tiny bruise, nothing concerning on it. And a minute, So, and that was the allegation that they are claiming for the abuse. And so they left that day, said it was unfounded.
I have to stop. The police officer said it was unfounded.
Correct.
He said there's no reason to continue, but
Correct.
the CPS investigator continued.
And she told us verbally, I'm not concerned. It's unfounded. And then she was going to go back and write her reports and everything. And this all happened like on a Thursday or Friday. So she leaves, and it's the following Thursday. The girls have their visits all week. The older sibling went with a visit with bio dad that evening from like 4 to 5 or something like that. And we got them both home. And in fact, my last pictures of Bianca was she was playing with my kids in the playroom. and get them home. And I get a phone call from the social worker, and I was like, hey, how's it going? And she's like, not good. I said, what is going on? And she said, I just got told I had to come remove the girls from your care. And I was like, right now? And she's like, yeah, we're on our way. If you could, excuse me, if you could pack up like their stuff. I was like, okay, well, I'm like right in the middle of dinner. And okay. And so I was trying to get Bianca dressed, and then they get there and I'm crying, and the girls, we were getting ready for dinner, so they're hungry. And CPS comes and gets them, and it's my social worker and a supervisor. And they come, and my social worker, she's friendly. The supervisor's not overly friendly. And my husband pulls in behind them. He had been at work all day at training. And he was like, this is not looking good. He's like, I don't know what's going on, but I can tell you these kids are not coming back based on the way these guys are
Well, your
acting
husband's in
towards
law enforcement.
My husband's in law enforcement, yes.
So
And
he knows.
Yes, he knows kind of these things. And he was like, I don't know what's going on, but I can tell you that this is going to be a bigger deal than what they're claiming to say it is. Like, they're just going to take them and check on them for whatever time. So they remove the girls. I'm crying. Girls are crying. They can't install car seats. I'm trying to figure out car seats, like let them borrow, do these things. And that was it. And then
as we were talking
started
earlier, the trauma. One thing that the department and lots of groups say is that children are resilient. They're resilient. They need to go back to their parents. They're resilient. And we need to stop saying kids are resilient, because what you're explaining right here, especially with Bianca from birth being with you the whole time and them just swooping in and taking her, they violated her attachment. Like,
Absolutely.
It's an attachment violation. And that's what we need to stop doing.
Yep.
So right there's an attachment violation. How did Bianca do in mom's care?
I don't think well. I think
Because you stayed in contact.
I stayed in contact, and we stayed in contact. So they left in September, and I stayed in contact with her for that next year. And we stayed in contact. I didn't see Bianca. I saw her one other time, and she wasn't doing well, but was still okay, but not. There were concerns.
But you had eyes on her because the dad's girlfriend reached out to you.
That was later on.
That was later on?
Yes, that was later on.
Okay, so
The eyes that I had on Bianca was BioMom sending pictures. We stayed in text contacts.
Right.
And she would send me pictures and say, oh, we're great. Oh, we're great. We're doing all these things. And we'd always planned on getting together to let my kids see them and them see us. But I also wanted to wait because I didn't want to hurt Bianca.
Right.
And I didn't want to confuse her as to, hey, you had me for 11 months and you left me, and now I'm going to see you and then you're going to leave me again. You know, I didn't want to hurt her.
I
so
understand
for months, the times that I took mom to the Celebrate Recovery and did that, Bianca would be asleep, and I would just get to look at her sweet little face sleeping. But we stayed in contact through text. And so that went on for a full year. And then BioMom asked to see me again, and we met for coffee. And I would talk to her, and it was just small talk. And I would leave seeing her thinking, gosh, I feel like she wants to say something to me. And I would text her and say, are you sure there's nothing you want to ask me? I just feel like something isn't right. And she's like, nope, I'm fine. And that was in September. And then we had another time in November where she said she wanted to meet. And I was like, yep, that's fine. And we'd always meet, at Fred Meyer in a public place for coffee. And the time in November, she was late, and she called and said, Bianca's really sick, but my mom can't watch her. Is it okay if I bring her? And I said, sure. And so she brought her. And it was like the end of November, so it was really cold and foggy.
Was this November? This is November 21, correct?
Correct. Yep, November of 2021.
Okay.
Yep. And so she let me hold her, and she felt light, but I also didn't have anything to compare it to. And she was sick. She had a fever and a cough and just didn't feel good. So she was very lethargic, but you know how like when kids are, they just don't feel good. They just kind of want to sit and be held. And that's what I did. She was wrapped in blankets, and I just snuggled her while we sat and talked. I remember it because she also brought the older sibling with her. And so we had, drinking coffee. And so she was like giving her a sip to the older sibling. And then Bianca wanted a sip, and she let her have a sip of it. And so Bianca was responding, but just didn't feel good.
Yeah, and kids get sick.
Kids get sick. And I didn't think anything of it. And I had assumed that during the time when the girls left us, that CPS was staying involved, that they were having doctor visits and dentist visits and visitations from CPS workers, because I trusted that CPS was staying involved. And shame on me for trusting that, because it clearly was not happening.
Yeah, but you didn't know.
I didn't know.
You didn't know, and that is their job.
It is their
job.
job.
So when a child gets sent home, they have a safety plan in place. Yep. I mean, every case that I've ever done, if a child, or I've supported, a child goes, any sort of change of arrangement, there's a safety plan in place.
Correct.
This safety plan is supposed to be enforced. It's supposed to be monitored.
Yep.
Going back to my timeline, because I want to make sure we honor her life well and we understand and really dive into this case. So I have, February 2021, the department now is saying this child, the younger, so Bianca's not doing well. She's having failure to thrive.
Correct.
Something is going on.
Just wasn't developing or, failing to thrive. She wasn't growing. So she basically regressed. So when I had her, she was getting ready to crawl, getting ready to pull herself up, doing all these things. And from September when they left
to February,
till February, none of that was happening.
So
and
in 5 months.
Yep. And they were trying to do, check and make sure her brain development was there and doing all these things.
Yes.
Apparently, to make sure that there was nothing medically.
This is what they're telling you.
Correct.
We don't have proof of that.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
We don't have any in the ombuds report. I don't see proof that I don't see that they said, hey, we took her and we did brain scans and all this stuff. But she's having failure to thrive. Correct. And I remember you telling me that bio mom kept telling you, the social worker and the transporter, she doesn't love me.
All the time when we had her, because the transport would come back and say, Bianca just cries. Every visit, she just cries and doesn't bond with mom. And bio mom had told me that. She was like, my baby, she just doesn't love me. And it was because I was mom to her. Like I was mom, and she was leaving to go see someone who biologically was her mother, but there was no relationship.
Right.
And so she said all the time that Bianca doesn't love me. So there was clearly that lack of attachment to bio mom.
Yeah, but that's how we're created, to attach. This child comes out and is attaching and then just gets ripped from you. And now she has this huge loss.
Yes.
And so for 5 months, she has failure to thrive. At what point did the bio dad's girlfriend reach out to you?
I believe it actually was after Bianca died, because...
Oh, is that when she was sending videos to you of what?
Yes, because she didn't know anything about me. She'd always been told these poor things about where Bianca was.
Right.
And then...
This foster care is...
Yep.
Foster care is evil.
Yes.
Foster care.
Well, and because they made such a big deal out of us, they were always told that they were with a terrible foster family and all the stuff that goes with it. So it was after Bianca died that she reached out and said, I was, cleaning for someone, and they were talking about this story, and it sounded similar to mine, where I loved this little girl and this little girl died. And she said, and then I realized it was you. And she said, I loved her too when I was in the picture for a certain amount of months. And I don't know that exact timeline, but she did send videos and pictures and everything of Bianca.
She disclosed to you as well that she was calling CPS, making reports.
Yep. She said she had concerns about bio mom taking care of Bianca. And then she also had concerns about bio dad, who she was living with and with at the time. No longer is with that dad, which is
the girlfriend.
Bianca's,
the girlfriend was living with the dad,
the bio dad of Bianca.
Right.
Yes.
Not Bianca living with her dad.
Correct. Bianca was visiting. They had visits.
Right.
And I don't know the timeline I don't know what the visit looked like, but she was going between dad and mom, kind of back and forth.
Okay. And what were some of the concerns that she shared with you?
I don't know for sure, but I think she just said she was not growing.
Let's not even
So
go. Let's not even go there. We don't even know. It's not proven. We don't have it documented. So let's not even go there.
Yep.
Let's just go with what we do know that CPS has. My concern, I read through the case, and there was concerns, maternal substance abuse, domestic violence, untreated medical and dental needs, mental health, all these different things. But what really, I have it underlined here, I have my papers, because I want to make sure that I am staying on like the facts that we have.
Yep.
In February, this is 2022, the kids are supposed to stay in daycare.
And that was my biggest comfort when they left, is that I knew they were going to go to daycare.
Yeah.
And the safety plan that I understood is that they should have been in daycare.
Right.
Because that daycare is the eyes on the child for the majority of the day.
Right.
And so I assumed they were at daycare Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
I've seen lots of safety plans, and it's always like, okay, kids remain in daycare. We need extra eyes.
Yep.
We need monitoring. And from this report, Bianca quit going to daycare. They pulled her from daycare. Mom said that it was too traumatizing to send her to daycare because of the CPS reports, because the daycare kept calling CPS. Then she also said that she was not taking Bianca to daycare because she wanted to spend time with her.
Yes.
So she was sending the other children. So she had the children that were in daycare. We have a 2-year-old sibling and a 14-month-old sibling.
Yes.
So the older sister and now the new baby, is that the new
Yes.
baby, and then Bianca was right in the middle
Correct.
between the older sibling that you had in care.
Yes, they're all very close in age. Yeah. So
Yes.
the older one, and then
the baby.
Bianca, and then the baby came right after
Okay,
Bianca.
so
the
it
1-year-old.
looks like to me in the report that the older sibling and the younger baby, at this time, younger baby now is about 14 months, they're both in daycare. Now, a call comes in that, and this makes me really sick. A call comes in that both the 2-year-old and the 14-month-old had, they were bleeding in they say the diaper area, they were bleeding at the same time. And they dismissed this. They dismissed this. They said, oh, no big deal. But little girls at this age do not bleed.
Correct. Yep.
Little girls at this age do not bleed. I don't know how CPS after that, even if they dismissed it and said, oh, nothing's founded, little girls at this age do not bleed.
Correct.
If they're bleeding, something has happened.
And they never checked on Bianca.
And at this time, this was February 2020. Oh, sorry, 22. February 2022. Bianca died April 2022. She was 2 years old and 5 months when she passed. I'm going to read you the report. This is a summary. Bianca died from preventable neglect after years of CPS and DCYF involvement. Despite repeated reports of bruising, developmental decline, and even allegations of sexual abuse, these are for the 2 older siblings. Sorry, the older sibling and the younger sibling, so the ones that kind of on each side of her, for having bleeding in the diaper area. Every investigation was closed and unfounded. It was all screened out. I also want to read you this. Upon arriving at the hospital, there was bruising on Bianca's little body. She had been burned. She had diaper area wounds. I don't know what that means, but it doesn't sound good. She had bed sores. She had dehydration, and she was malnourished. She weighed 17 pounds. The mother delayed medical care until the day of her death. She was 17 pounds. There were 26 intakes made between 2012, so this is before she was born, so this must be on the other children, to 2022 regarding Bianca and her siblings. Yes. So this mother had 26 intakes of people calling saying, something's not right, something needs to be changed. And nobody laid eyes on Bianca until the day she died. By the time they made it to the hospital, she was so malnourished that they couldn't revive her.
Correct. And she, if you can read in the report, she basically was dying before she was dead. Yeah, like
they
her body
say,
was shutting down.
Yeah, they said she was septic. But 17 pounds?
That was less than what she weighed when she left our care.
And how long was she away from you?
A year and a half.
So at a year and a half, she lost weight. I don't know how.
A 2.5-year-old weighs 17 pounds.
And I don't know how this timeline unfolded and nobody laid eyes on this child. Thank you for being vulnerable with us and for sharing. This is why Fostering Change is back. I want this beautiful little girl to be seared into our brains. She is not a number.
Nope.
She is not a stat. She had a name. She was loved. She had a future.
Absolutely.
I want the narrative that children are always should be with their parents. It's the best option. I want that narrative to go into the ground.
Right.
Because that is not true. Bianca is a prime example of neglect and violence that was done to her beautiful little body.
Her innocent little body. She didn't get to.
She
didn't say it.
And she doesn't have a voice. And
Does not have a voice.
And each one of these little children that we are not going in and rescuing. This is a rescue. This is a rescue mission that we're failing to do, and this is on our watch. When we're providing parents with safe boxes so they continue to be addicts, and we are not giving these children a chance to just live. Just live.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have no words.
I love talking about her because she was wonderful. And she's in heaven now, and I don't have to worry about her.
Yeah,
and that
she's
was
with the Lord.
Absolutely. And that was one of the biggest things, that I didn't have to worry about her anymore once I heard.
Did you have a chance to be at her funeral?
Yes, because so right after she passed away, bio mom started calling and texting me, and my husband said, "Do not get involved. We do not need pulled into another investigation."
Well, he's a law enforcement.
Right.
That's very wise.
Don't need pulled in. So I didn't respond until a week later when she said, I want to have this viewing for her. And at the time she was having it at a funeral home in town. And so I was like, okay. And so my friends and I made a cradle for her and got to take that. And then another friend of mine's mom provided a dress. It was like a white dress with a bonnet to put on her because her little body was awful. It was not good, but it covered her, and she looked,
I believe,
beautiful but tiny.
You dressed her, right?
Yes.
You got to go in there and you dressed her.
Yes, I had worked at the funeral home off and on, just a little bit in there, and so I was able to dress her and get her ready for it, and that was special.
It's
very special.
It feels very honoring.
It was honoring, and it was emotional because I got to sit there and rock her, and it was later, but I got to rock her. And then I was there. And so then we all got to go see her. And we did. I took the kids and my husband, and we did like a private viewing of her. I did end up going to the viewing with bio mom and was there for it. And it was emotional from everyone there because everyone loves a baby. And people came in and looked at her and saw her, and that was it. So.
I also want to point out that the failure of what happened was not loving to the bio mom either.
Right.
Because we don't know her circumstances. We don't know her circumstances. I really have a hard time believing she intentionally killed her child, but she stood by and watched. And her not feeding her, not getting her help, was her killing her child. But it did not help that the department didn't step in and remove the child just to be loving to the parent.
Right.
Right? When we are letting kids stay in drug homes, we are not being loving to the people, the addicts, because I really have a hard time believing that somebody in their right mind could live with themselves after murdering their child.
Yep.
So it is an act of love when we go and we remove We remove their children to separate them from the possibility of death.
Yes. When the parents can decide what the best interest for their child is not being in the home with them. And when CPS in this case can decide that the best interest of the child is to not remain in a home with the parents.
Yeah.
Is what needs to
Happen. Yeah.
Yep.
I appreciate your story.
Thanks.
I appreciate it.
I'm glad we got to talk about Bianca.
I am too.
I am too.
I am too. And I'm praying that our legislators hear this story, that they would quit listening to the lies that children are always, always, always supposed to be with their biological parents, that's the best option, because Bianca is a prime example.
Prime example. That was not the best option.
It was not the best option.
Yeah.
And there's not even multiple, hundreds
of
kids.
cases. It's like an everyday thing now. Every time you turn around. Yep.
I know, they're dying.
Yep.
Would you mind showing me some pictures of your beautiful girl?
Yes. And I have a lot because I take thousands of pictures. I mean, I think if you were to, my husband, plenty of pictures, plenty. And just even in this little file that I have, because I had to cut out pictures of her and sibling, right? And there's a lot that are on another computer, but even just this one has 457 pictures somewhere in there, just from a couple of months. Like this is not all the pictures. Like I have pictures and videos and all the things, but there's like this one's her at birth, like right when I get to bring her home. And then it kind of goes as it progresses of, she's growing and she's just starting to smile and she's starting to sit up and she's starting to do, bath time and all the things. And then towards the end, like this one was one of the last pictures I had of her, and it was of her and I looking at each other. I'm holding her and snuggling her before she left for her visit. And then I did one more picture was, which one is it? Right in here, was where she was playing right before they picked her up. And that was the last picture. And I'm so thankful I have those pictures of her.
Yeah, because she's thriving in all those pictures.
Thriving, smiling, happy, not crying, ever. She just was perfect. The easiest, perfect baby. And I loved her. And through all of this, obviously through talking, I have a strong faith, and I know that she's in heaven. And I'm so thankful that God can take her and keep her with him until I get to be there. And it's like, I always tell people, I'm not afraid to die because I have 2 babies waiting for me and 3 with her, right? I have my 2 bio and then I get her and I get to see her. So by golly, when I get there, it's going to be amazing. And I don't have to worry about her because I did up until she died. And that was one of the first things I said, I don't have to worry about her anymore. And it's just, God says he'll take everything that hurts and is hard down here and he'll turn it new and he'll use it for his good. And if talking about her and her death can bring change and save other children, because there's lots of babies being born, that we need to do that. And she was worth it. I would do it 100%, 100 times over if I could.
That. She was worth it.
Yes.
She was
absolutely.
Worth it.
Yep. And it was hard. It was really hard on our family, but we powered through and we are confident in knowing that she's safe and we'll get to see her again.
You will. I like to think about life. Like, do any of your kids do needlepoint?
A little bit.
Okay, because I've been seeing some of the young kids doing needlepoint. If you look at the back of that, it's a mess. That's our perspective of this world. Everything is so wrong and it's so messy. But then God's turn it over and he is the grand weaver and he is making everything beautiful and he's making everything new. And he is making this tapestry throughout time, weaving all things together for the good of those who are called according to his purpose.
Yes, absolutely.
And Bianca is that.
Yep, she is.
And
Jesus loves all the little children.
he does. Yep. He does.
So he has them.
Yeah. And we want her to be remembered.
Absolutely.
And we want change to come because of Bianca and her beautiful life.
Yes. Yep.
Thank you for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. I loved it.
Thank you for being with us.